lesson there is, please discover who you are first. Let the partner that is coming, because abusive relationship is not just for only a woman. It can happen the other way around. Men are being abused. It's just that men with their ego, they won't want to talk about it. They pretend that all is well, being a man and all that. But most men are highly abused. But the rate is high on women. Work on yourself so well to be the love you want to see. This is for both the abused and the abuser. Work on yourself so well to be the peace you want to have. Be the peace to yourself and prepare to be a peace to someone else. Because if I want to pick that there was any issue, honestly, there was no issue. Because this man came so loving, so kind, so good. You do anything, someone like me, I was pushing him to even be angry. Let me see his rate of anger.
So you mean during courtship? Or?
Yeah, during courtship. You don't have a job. You don't develop yourself. You don't develop your skills. You have potentials that are so untapped within you. Now you want to carry all your load on a so-called rich man. My dear sister, please develop yourself. Because even in the midst of the richness, you need to have your own. There is no, I don't know why some people feel they can only glory in somebody's wealth without theirs.
I like my own money. Like spending my own money is sweeter.
Oh my God. Spending your own money, you have this internal fulfillment. Do you understand when somebody asks you something and you give the person out of your money that you have worked for? Do you see the fulfillment you get? It doesn't mean that your husband or your wife should not be there for each other.
Most definitely.
But of course, you must have your own. Do you know this is not only for women? In Abuja self. So many men.
Okay, that's another kettle of fish entirely.
One women to even be the one taking care of them.
Okay, so let's Counsellor Rita, off your mic. Let's quickly go on a quick break, and when we return, where she just landed is where we'll pick up from. In the words of Patty Rassey Hobson, who is a poet and businesswoman and has also painstakingly assisted and supported countless numbers of survivors of sexual assault, she once said, "Abuse changes your life. Fight back and change the life of your abusers by breaking your silence on abuse." Absolutely spot on. My next quote is from Jordan Pickell, who is a registered clinical counselor and trauma therapist in Vancouver, once said, "Sometimes telling ourselves everything happens for a reason or it made me stronger is a way to avoid our grief, our vulnerability, and our helplessness." And my last quote is from Paulo Coelho, who is a Brazilian lyricist and novelist and a member of the Brazilian Academy of Letters since 2002, once said, "If you are brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello." Wow, absolutely spot on. Don't you just like this quote I just took? Very warm greetings and welcome to The Conversation. We're reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. Now let's see how this quote relates to what we'll be discussing today. Domestic abuse, also called domestic violence or intimate partner violence, can be defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. Abuse is physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. This includes any behavior that frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, humiliate, blame, injure, or wound someone, anyone. Now, domestic abuse can also happen to anyone of any race, age, sexual orientation, religion, or gender. Most definitely, it also happens to men. It can occur within a range of relationships, including couples who are married, living together, or dating. Domestic violence affects people of all social economic backgrounds and education levels. Remember, anyone can be a victim of domestic violence, regardless of age, race, gender, sexual orientation, faith, or class. Being in an abusive relationship affects you both physically and mentally and makes you start questioning your self-worth. Many victims put with their abusive partners, hoping that they will mend ways and change over time. I'm sure you must have heard that mentality of he will change or she will change. But it will only make things worse. And this suffering will continue. So, prioritize yourself and take the initiative to end the abusive relationship. Anonymous once said, abuse is abuse. Harsh words don't break bones, but they often break hearts. Never accept anything less than you deserve. Remember again, you teach people how they should treat you. Don't allow someone to mentally abuse you just because you love them. Every individual has the right to be treated respectively. Being single and happy is far better than being sad and afraid in an abusive relationship. Never feel guilty about ending a toxic relationship because nothing is worth trading our inner peace and dignity. Always take a stand against all forms of abuse. Gather courage and fight for your peace and progress. Healing may be very slow or it may take a very slow process, but always remember that I am talking to you, watching and looking at me right now. You deserve all the happiness that you need and that you can get. So get out now, because abuse only gets worse over time. No one deserves to be treated like dirt. No one, not even you looking at me at the moment. Overcoming abuse doesn't just happen. It takes positive steps every day. So let today be the day that you start to make that move forward. That's according to Assunta Harris. Remember that you survived the abuse. You're definitely going to survive the recovery. So enough of all this long, let me use the Nigerian aspire to Maguire before you perspire kind of words. Now, today's conversation, we're talking about abusive and toxic relationship, and it will be with my guest, the beautiful Rita Bassey, who is, she's a counselor, and she would also give us, share part of her experience with regards to divorce and what she's doing, how she's moving on. Abuse, after abuse, what next? What other parts or steps to recover? Like I said, after abuse, what next? How far are you moving on? After that divorce, how are you moving on? How are you making sure that you make that change for yourself first? Loving yourself first before thinking of loving another person. Now, like I said again, enough of all these long talks. Let me bring in my guest, Rita Bassey. I'll see you after this time out. Join us again.
Okay, domestic violence is a kind of violence that happens between people who live under the same roof. So usually it can happen between spouses, it can happen between people that literally just live under the same roof. And you often find the victims, unfortunately, as women and girls. Oftentimes you find girls being abused by their uncles, aunties, some even complain of parents abusing them. And oftentimes you also find spouses abusing their partners. And like I said, it usually happens mostly between the women and girls. They are usually the victims of this kind of abuse, and it leads to detriment of their mental health because there's emotional abuse alongside. And this is a situation where one party tends to dominate the second party and tends to intimidate them. So I believe that everyone should learn to speak up when they're experiencing domestic violence.
You know, the implication of domestic violence. When you say domestic, it means in our immediate environment, right? And as we already know, the family is the smallest unit of the society, and by extension, the smallest and the most important unit of the society. So if we have a dysfunctional family, it's bound to extend to the society. So the one of the major implication of domestic violence in the society is that we are going to have a society of people who are living in delusion. Also, the evidences are all there in the society. You can see the chaos. You can see the chaos everywhere now. Go to the prisons. You have our boy child. You have our men there. You have our youths there for um, for offences that would have been corrected if adequate attention had been paid to their upbringing. A lot of boys now are being trained to see women uh, as objects of pleasure. A lot of women now are being trained to see men as the enemy. To see men as the enemy. A lot of women are being trained now to see men as an object to be used. So the effect of uh, domestic violence in the society cannot be overstated, and a lot of sensitization really needs to go into this.
Some of the ways are being our brother's keepers, because most times people don't speak up, and then sometimes other people notice the signs amongst their neighbors that maybe something went wrong or some people are acting in a certain kind of way. So it means that those people are passing through things, and if you even check, some of these people know more than that. So if people can be their brother's keepers by helping them speak up since they can't talk for themselves, it's one of the ways that we can eradicate some of these things. And then training our children proper ways, giving them good manners. That's our boys and our girls, because domestic violence could be in all ways.
Hashtag speak up and domestic violence.
Hashtag say no to domestic violence.
Say no to domestic violence.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. And my guest, like I said earlier, is Rita Bassey. She is an abusive reconciliation counselor, and she is a personal development coach. Great to have you on the show today, Gay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Abusive recovery counselor.
Recovery. Sorry, I beg your pardon. All right. Now let's talk about domestic violence, abuse. But before we start on that, I'd like to ask: is marriage a yardstick for measuring success? Let's start with that, because a lot of people will say, we keep asking, you're not married, so it means that the whole world has stopped, and then that nothing is moving around you. Is it actually an achievement first?
Well, I can say marriage is one of the achievements in life, but it's not a yardstick to a major success.
Okay.
The yardstick to major success from my angle of discipline is discovering who you are and expressing it in this space of life we find ourselves called Earth. The yardstick is you discovering your potential and the skill within you, and use it positively to affect your own life and also affect the world around you. I think that should be our yardstick.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So now, the reason why I asked this question is because you find a lot of people who are going through domestic violence or abuse, and then they tell you that I cannot stay unmarried. That's the reason why I have to stay in the marriage.
Yeah.
So now when you see people like that, I'm sure you must have come across loads of them. We're going to get experiences so that by the time we start talking to people, you know that you are actually hearing from someone who has won the shoe and know how it itches.
Yeah.
So now when you get someone come to tell you about what they've gone through with regards to domestic violence, either physically, emotionally, or psychologically. When you get people like that, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? And then how do you begin to talk to them, especially when they tell you that my parents were never divorced, so I cannot leave my marriage?
When you say people, it looks far.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Let's bring it back home now.
Yeah, because
Let's bring it
I
back
was
to
there.
you. Yes.
I was there.
Tell us your
So,
story.
and it's a pitiable situation because of the scripts we've been written, that have been written on us or into our subconscious mind, and we just start living it out. I was one of those people that believe marriage is the in fact that's the highest success you should in fact a lady
as a woman.
yes, as a woman I was preparing myself to be married. So every other thing, like taking decision, where to walk, where to travel to, where to the kind of car I should drive, where to live, was all depending on the man,
husband.
the kind of man I will marry to.
Ah, okay.
Oh yes, so and I always believe, and I still believe, marriage is a sacred institution, right? And it was meant for understanding, for quality relationship, for fulfillment. Yes, that's marriage. That's what marriage is intentionally. But, because these are meant with so many people, with other behavioral experiences, and they come to themselves, and some of them have their own scripts of an abuse can come from maybe the person's childhood experience and coming down to meet this other person that feel the holistic and the sacredness of marriage. Of course, the person will want to stay, family, religious belief, societal
Society.
demands, and
Even peer pressure.
yes, peer pressures. All my friends are married. No. This person has married and never move out. Is it me? So you just want to keep it as if nothing is happening there. But just giving this false look and pretentious smile that all is well when you are dying. So I was there. That's what I told you. I was there. I was there, like I call it traumatic silence.
Oh, wow.
Traumatic silence where I was living a false life. Not accepting the truth that I was going on. In fact, to even mention abuse was like a taboo to me because I didn't believe that people that talk about abusive relationship, they were saying the truth. I thought they were lying. I thought,
Until you had to
look,
experience
you
it.
should make it work. As a woman, I was prepared to make marriage work.
So actually, that's what we always taught by our parents.
Yes, if it's
Make
not
it work.
working, it's your fault as a woman. So I was trying to prove that to myself and to my ex-husband. Plus his title as a pastor and all that. So I was even pretending among the congregation that all was well.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? Because of the script, I talk about the script that as a woman, you make your marriage work. So the man does not have any responsibility. No, they do. The script, we didn't know who we are to know that, there is something that is taught there that this man need help. Okay, me as a counseling psychologist, I told my partner, look, there is a problem here. Because the whole show started 5 days after our marriage, our wedding.
Okay.
5 days.
Okay.
So I said, look, there is a problem here. The first day, he said it was devil. Second day, demon. Third day,
What exactly was the issue?
Was the issue? Anything can be an issue.
Okay. Because we want to
food
get you.
is ready. That food is ready can be an issue. Why should it be that early? Why is it not very hot? When it's very hot, why is it not cold? If it's very cold, why are you disturbing? Anything can be an issue that if you rest, you start to talk about it. No, you are not submissive enough. You know.
So since we want to first of all get from your story, what exactly was the issue and what is the lesson you want women to learn from your own story?
What the lesson I want the women to learn? Honestly, because I've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about abusive relationship. They will either blame this person or the other person. The lesson there is, please discover who you are first. Let the partner that is coming, because abusive relationship is not just for only a woman. It can happen the other way around. Men are being abused. It's just that men with their ego, they won't want to talk about it. They pretend that all is well, being a man and all that. But most men are highly abused. but the rate is high on women. Work on yourself so well to be the love you want to see. This is for both the abused and the abuser. Work on yourself so well to be the peace you want to have. Be the peace to yourself and prepare to be a peace to someone else. Because if I want to pick that there was any issue, honestly, there was no issue. Because this man came so loving, so kind, so good. You do anything. Someone like me, I was pushing him to even be angry. Let me see his rate of anger.
So you mean during courtship or?
Yeah, during courtship.
Okay.
So that now
how long did you court?
We courted 3 months, between 3 months and 4 months.
Okay. Before you got married?
Before we got married.
Okay.
So sometimes I would do something that would even push him. He was so calm. Then the day after our marriage, after all the family and all the well-wishers had gone,
left.
It was just me and him coming back from where we went to, and here we are trying to just talk about the whole thing. Flew up.
That same day?
The fifth day, not the day of our wedding, the fifth day after our wedding. He flew up. It was so aggressive, so violent.
Oh,
it was shaking. I was like, it wasn't called for. That's the only Nkem. I call him Nkem. I said, Nkem, he's not called for this. Why this shout? I was trying to make the neighbor not to hear that he was screaming out of his voice. He was, oh my God. I was kneeling down, Nkem, please. It has not come to this. He will kick me, he will hit. Oh no. At the end of the day, I had this rib pains here.
Oh wow.
That took him, because after that show, they will come back to be very sober. Very sober and kind. Spoil you with love and gifts. He was crying, pressing me. It took us some weeks for me to get myself.
And then he said it was the devil.
It was the devil. The first day. The second day. It was you. If you did not say anything, maybe I wouldn't have done it.
Oh, wow.
It got to the point that I was the one blaming myself for everything.
I can imagine.
Yes, it got to that point. It got to the point to enter our matrimonial bedroom. I'll be tiptoeing, especially maybe he's studying. Because anything you close door, he said the door is too, you shut it too loud. So I was tiptoeing to enter the room so that I do not even make a sound.
Oh, wow.
You tiptoe too much. I was living, when I say I was living a very fake and fearful life. But I was a Rita, before I got married, I was already motivating young ones. So that motivation was still in me. I was still going. When I go out there, I would just be smiling. Immediately I enter my car, as I enter my car, I'm crying.
Oh, wow.
I will cry till I get to the gate. Immediately I got to the gate, I was smiling again to greet the gate man. And what a life. So, my dear.
And like you said, he was a pastor, so I can imagine like you being the pastor's wife. You have to be the perfect pastor, not just the wife, but then the pastor's wife, because every congregation wants to see you all smiling, chin to chin. Oh, wow.
Exactly. No. Oh, there are so many experiences that sometimes when I'm remembering, I'll be laughing. How did I get there?
How long did you stay in the marriage?
That marriage lasted for, before I got married, I think about 5 years.
Oh, wow. So you even stayed 5 years?
No, I didn't stay 5 years. After 2 years, I separated.
Okay.
Being a counselor,
Were you a counselor before you got married?
Of course.
Okay.
Because
I guess that was the push you had.
Yes. So why would I not be now tell him that there is a problem? Let me the counselor. Sometimes we now like, okay, it's ready. The day he said we are going, those useless people, what would they tell me? Is it not me that has been counseling everybody around me? He will not go. How many moves? He will not shake. He will come back again and start pleading that he does not know Satan wants to destroy our lives. And I was even blaming Satan.
I can imagine.
Sometimes when I look at the notebook, I was writing prayer requests. I'm just laughing this time. I say, Kai, Rita, you were, it's well with you. Because I was blaming Satan on something a human should take responsibility on. So the first lesson is you have a problem, accept that you have a problem and look for solution. Do you understand? Because Satan is not as powerful as we think he is. If only we can work on what has been stored inside us. It is actually where I got what I'm doing now. Because it made me to start thinking, how could such a good person turn a beast the other way around? The next second it will turn good. As in, living a very fake life, living in denial, making everybody around the community knows that he was a very good man. So I was the only one that...
And you start asking yourself, what is your problem?
What's my problem? And if you... That was also the reason I kept silent, because who will believe me? This good man. You say he hit you. You say he's doing you...
That means you talk too much. That's what people will tell you.
You are the worst now. So I was trying to work on myself to meet up with whatever he said. This one was not good. I'll try to make it good. Extra good. That same one you make very extra good, you will find another thing that will make it bad. Abusive relationship is happening within us. As in, it's happening in the church, folks, among the church people. I'm a Christian, and so it's happened there. It's happened outside the church or in the society, but it's something that people don't want to talk about it. Because we don't want to accept the truth.
All right, now, so since you've told us your story and then you were able to walk out after 2 years and then even heal, now you're looking back and then smiling at those things and then saying, well, how did I even accept things like this? But then we understand the fact that a lot of women, they have no job. They're not doing anything. There's no business, no school, no education. So they had that belief that I would just get married to one man who would come and sweep me off my feet, be my Prince Charming, and take good care of me from head to toe. So how much does that mentality, because we see that mentality now with young girls, they believe that let me just marry one rich man and then he would inherit all my problems, even my family problems. So how much does that also add to abuse when they get into the marriage?
100%. Because even the abuser themselves, what they're trying to do is to demoralize you, take away everything that make you self-reliance and make you dependent on them. Because it got to me, there was a time that after all this, I was still thinking it was something. I didn't see it as an abuse. I told you, I didn't even call it. To call it abuse was far from me. I was seeing it as Satan fighting me. So I was still praying, I was still begging, I was still doing all that because I wanted to stay married. Remember I said, I was one of those that feel married was end to the means. Do you understand? So it got to that point. One of those days said, if I really want the marriage, I should choose between my job and the marriage. It's either I accept the marriage and leave my job, or I leave the job. I leave the marriage and accept my job. I started crying. I said, but this is not what you told me. We talk about all this before we got married.
I was even going to ask that.
Yes, we talk about all this. I said, this is not what you told me. You even promised to come down. He did not tell me anything. Now, shut this thing. He lock me off from reaching him through phone and every other way and all that. So those are their characteristics. They want to make you dependable on them. So you can now see a woman that you don't have a job, you don't develop yourself, you don't develop your skills, you have potentials that are so untapped within you. Now you want to carry all your load on a so-called rich man. My dear sister, please develop yourself. Because even in the midst of the richness, you need to have your own. There is I don't know why some people feel they can only glory in somebody's wealth without theirs.
I like my own money. Spending my own money is sweeter.
Oh my God. Spending your own money, you have this internal fulfillment. Do you understand when somebody asks you something and you give the person out of your money that you have worked for? Do you see the fulfillment you get? It doesn't mean that your husband or your wife should not be there for each other.
Most
but,
definitely.
But of course, you must have your own. Do you know this is not only for women in Abuja self? So many men.
Okay, that's another kettle of fish entirely.
One women to even be the one taking care of them.
Okay, so let's Counsellor Rita, off your mic. Let's quickly go on a quick break, and when we return, where she just landed is where we'll pick up from. I'll see you after this time out. Join us again.
A woman should protect herself. Don't wait for any man to come to, I need a man to be my coverage. My dear, you are the first coverage to your life. Yes, you are the first coverage to your life. So cover yourself, cover your emotion, and be in control of it. When you're able to take your control of your thoughts, feelings, your action will be so wow. Because you have right to say yes, you have right to say no, you have right to say hold on, you have right to say, oh, not what I want, I'm sorry. But one of the days, the last episode that made me, and I had to, because I've never told the woman he has eaten me before. I say, he has abused me sexually, he has abused me emotionally, he has abused me. When I'm crying, that's when you want to make love with me. So that was where I got to know there's a difference between love making and sex. So it was sex, it wasn't love making. Because how can you find joy in when somebody you value so much is in pains, is hot? That's actually where you want it the more. So, and I told the woman that, I said, the last one that he did, the friend was around, he carried the chair, he almost hit me with the chair. The friend was the one. In fact, it was that day now I was able to talk because the friend came when that day happened. Friend, like, is it how you treat somebody's daughter? It was screaming. And you know, the man of God, the friend was screaming on top of his voice. I want to kill somebody. He said, hey, if you want to die, let her die. I'll marry another one. Oh, you always tell me, I can treat you any how you want. I marry you with my money. No.
Really?
If I tell you, sit down there, you must sit down there. I marry you with my money. Oh, is it when you call me one day, you are my slave? In the day, that same day, the friend came. He said, I can treat her anyway, she's my... I said, I'm not your slave. That day, that's when I spoke. I said, I'm not your slave.
So where did you get that strength from?
Oh, that's the training. I said, I've started counseling.
Okay.
For some time.
Okay.
So this is not like today, tomorrow, like months back. I've been doing counseling. I put myself in personal development training. I started putting myself to get myself awareness. You know, you remember I asked myself, Rita, who are you? I was trying to define Rita.
First. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We are reaching you from Kaftan's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you just joined us, you've actually missed out on a whole lot. But then you can still join in the conversation. As my guest on the show today is Counsellor Rita Bassey. She is an abusive recovery counselor and also a personal development coach. All right, before we went on that break, you've actually said quite enough. If you shaked tables, and in fact, like the way I'm saying it is like very soon we are taking the tables straight to Panteka so that they can know what they will do to it. So now you're referring to gigolos, men in Abuja, and you were specific about Abuja for whatever reason though. You were specific about Abuja, where you have men who will just sit pretty and expect one woman to come and take care of their needs. And you've seen how, you know, where some men all they just have is flashy cars, and then all their belongings is inside that car. So whatever they're doing is just expecting one woman to sweep them off their feet, take care of their problems, and then that's it. So now that you've talked to girls, the Gen Z girls, who believe that I need to get married to one man who will take care of my needs and my family's needs, now let's throw that stray bullet to those gigolos, those guys who believe that there's one woman who is waiting for them somewhere, who has built her life, that they would now come and pest and then be a parasite to that woman and even bring the woman down.
Yeah. You are almost finished the whole talk for me, because when I mentioned Abuja, I've been here for quite some years and I observe a lot. I see a lot of things. I'm always out there in the field. I meet a lot of people. I've heard a lot of stories. Do you understand? So there are this set of people Theirs is to be fine boy, good look,
Fine boy, no
dress
pimple.
well, with your nice car, and look for a girl that is already outstanding.
Okay, before you go ahead,
Do you
I
understand?
actually heard that they're called the. I don't want to believe that's what they're called, but they say they're called Wuse boys. When you see them with that, their big kaftan, stay away.
Okay.
But I don't want to believe it's all.
I don't know. I don't like finalizing people by
Yes.
their look, but I'm seeing what is happening around. And this innocent young lady, of course, every lady, like I said, the script, majority of ladies in Nigeria and Africa have is marriage is the end to your
To the
means. It's not a means to an end. I'm now realized marriage is one of the means to an end. It's not
One of.
one of the. I call marriage as one of the jars of life. Just like you got a job, it's a jar of life. Your job cannot define you, right? So why should your marriage define you? So the young ladies that always fall into prayer with this are also in that category that feel, oh, I have gotten all this. I just need a man. Of course, you need a man. Your answer will come. The man will come. And you won't care to find out who is this person. You don't get to see some red flags. And
But in your
do
own
you
time,
know
you
my
didn't see
own
red
time?
flag.
No. I always tell people I did not see, but there was a time I sat down. I said, oh, there were some red
Oh,
flags.
you didn't notice
There was
because
a
you didn't want
time
to.
we were on the phone call. He was speaking with his cousin. Background, I was this side. So it's like the cousin that stays with him came up. And he was so aggressive to the cousin. My mind told me, is it how aggressive he is? And in my own mind too, I was giving an excuse. That boy
He will
must
not
be
do
a
it
very
to me.
stubborn boy. Why is he making this innocent man to be
Can
talking like
imagine.
this? Do you understand? But that same aggression was doubled to me. So no matter how we feel there is no red flag, sometimes they are there. If you really pipe down, if you really allow the emotion to relax, because we are spirit being. In my personal development, that's the first thing I let you know. You are a spirit being. Being a woman doesn't make that feel that you are all controlled by your emotions. No. You are a spirit, so you are in charge of your emotion. Your emotion is part of the mind. Your mind is both intellectual and emotion. So your emotion is both way. It's your mind. So you can put it under subjection and see what you need. Ask yourself some questions. Because these guys, of course, they always get their way out. You see what is happening on the internet. Some of them will use your money, take video you, and not still send it back to the world. For a woman you're supposed to cherish so much. There are so many insane people on the road.
Ah,
Yes.
I agree.
So because I feel there is no right thinking man that should do that. But they are doing it. So a woman should protect herself. Don't wait for any man to come to, I need a man to be my coverage. My dear, you are the first coverage to your life. Yes, you are the first coverage to your life. So cover yourself, cover your emotion and be in control of it. When you're able to take control of your thoughts, feelings, your action will be so wow. Because you have right to say yes, you have right to say no, you have right to say hold on, you have right to say, oh, not what I want, I'm sorry.
all right.
Okay.
So an anonymous was once quoted as saying that it is like one day you flip a switch and become someone I never knew. So at what point in all of this, because now I hear you say that he was all sweet, he was all rosy and all. At what point, because let's now talk to that woman or that man who is going through an abusive marriage, and then they said he was never like this, he was all good. So at what point should he or she look at it and say, it's getting sour, we need help?
Okay. I got to that point too on my own. There was one of the days that I call it episode. that episode was wow. I wanted to go out, about it. So he just started that his anger. When once the anger came, it's like it kept going. Before you know it, you are not going anywhere. In fact, I'm leaving the house, you are not leaving the house. I said, please, I've already asked this person to come. And it was the church member was to come and to pick me to get some stuff. It became so bad and hit me, smashed my phone. I had 2 phones then. Smashed the phone, he snatched the phone from me. Do you understand? And he went out, locked the gate outside.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you understand. I said, he left me, I was inside the house. So
Even that alone just deals with your psyche.
that day, the clothes I wore, I didn't know. The whole day, I turned back to front, this is supposed to be the back. So I was wearing this other side front, and I didn't know because I was not with myself. And I was crying. I was really a shadow of myself. And I look at myself in the mirror. Rita, who are you? Are you what this man is calling? The man was almost demoralized me to be in his world. He was almost gotten into. Because this thing keep going like this. When once you did not come to yourself and say, this is not me, you live in that world for life. That's where a lot of people are today. And they can't break forth because that's their world. The man has made them believe that's their world, and they have accepted that's their world. The woman has made you believe that's your world. You have accepted that's your world, man. You have a life beyond that. At that point, I was going, Rita, who are you? I now remember what I used to tell the young ones. Remember I told you, I used to motivate the young ones when I go to school. I said, if you don't define yourself to yourself and to every other person around you, and that every other person will define you for who you are not. Before you know it, you start dancing their drums. The beat
and
of
all
their
this,
drums.
you were looking at the mirror.
Yes, I was remembering. This is what I used to tell the young ones. Those words were coming to me. I said, God, I've been dancing his drum. Who have I talked to? As at this time, I didn't share it with anybody. And I called one of my counselors, an elderly woman. I said, I have something to tell you. I was crying, I was weeping. And I told her everything. I didn't even tell everything as at then. That at least I let her know that, see, I've been going through this for a long time. He said, why didn't you say? Now I'm start talking. He said, maybe you did not, maybe because you did not cut for some months.
That's what people always tell you.
People say that, okay, give him some time. I say, it has been like this. So the woman started putting me through counseling. That's the first step. I was through the counseling. It was still coming up and going down, coming up. Of course, we were still there. But one of the days, the last episode that made me, and I had to, because I've never told the woman he has eaten me before. I say, he has abused me sexually, he has abused me emotionally, he has abused me. When I'm crying, that's when he wants to make love with me. So that was where I got to know there's a difference between love making and sex. So it was sex, it wasn't love making. Because how can you find joy in when somebody you value so much is in pains, is hurt? That's actually where you want it the more. So, and I told the woman that, I said, the last one that he did, the friend was around, he carried the chair, he almost hit me with the chair. The friend was the one. In fact, it was that day now I was able to talk because the friend came when that day happened. Friend like, is it how you treat somebody's daughter? It was screaming. And you know, the man of God, the friend was screaming on top of his voice. I want to kill somebody. Say, hey, if you want to die, let her die. I'll marry another one. Oh, you always tell me, I can treat you any how you want. I marry you with my money. I know.
Really?
If I tell you, sit down there, you must sit down there. I marry you with my money. Oh, is it when you call me one day, you are my slave? In the day, that same day, the friend came. He said, I can treat her anyway, she's my... I said, I'm not your slave. That day, that's when I spoke. I said, I'm not your slave.
So where did you get that strength from?
Oh, that's the training. I said, I've started counseling.
Okay.
For some time.
Okay.
So this is not like today, tomorrow, like months back. I've been doing counseling. I put myself in personal development training. I started putting myself to get myself awareness. You know, you remember I asked myself, Rita, who are you? I was trying to define Rita.
First.
So I started defining Rita to the point I became like a giant inside. I wasn't on that pitiable state again. I wasn't on that dependable state again of marriage. There was a day I looked at the ring, I said, I'd rather remove this ring and be happy than putting the ring, feeling that I'm happy when I'm not. So I started telling myself some hard truths that was against what the society taught me or religion taught me. Yes, I started telling myself some hard truths. Started even studying the word of God to now know that the Bible did not say, do not divorce. It said, go ahead, divorce. So I started knowing some words that we were using contrary to the real meaning. Do you understand? To demoralize you, because I was feeling, oh, if I live in and I'm sinning against God. You don't sin against God when somebody, the Bible said, treat your wife, the wife of your youth with honor, not treacherously. When somebody is treating you treacherously, you still want to give excuse and stay there? Nowhere.
All right, so that there are 1 million questions, but then we don't have so much time. I hope that we can actually have this conversation some other time. But then I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and I'd like you to take them in one breath now, because you always have people who will come out to tell you it is because you did not date or court for a long time. Some people will tell you you have to court for at least 5 years before you can be able to know yourselves. So in that regard, how long is too long for you to either date, be friends, or court each other? That's one on the side. Then secondly, you have parents who are bringing up children. That man is somebody's son. It's somebody's responsibility, or even one community's responsibility. So at what point are parents supposed to start teaching their children, not only the women, but the men, to have empathy first for themselves, and before they take that empathy to other people, and realize that abuse, either in words or in emotions, is an abuse, and they should stay away?
The first question is
courting, dates.
dates.
How long is too long?
How long
before they start calling you Lord of the Rings?
My dear, I've seen people that courted 1 month. They are happily married. They are still happy till tomorrow. There are people that say they didn't even court. They just saw themselves and
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight, and they are enjoying it. So I am one of those that don't believe in too long courtship or too short courtship. But I believe in knowing yourself so much to be empathetic to yourself and to others. Love yourself so much to love others. Love yourself so much to be there for each other in secret. Don't pretend. You know why all this is going on? Because people pretend a lot. A lot of people just
especially these days of social media.
Yes. People pretend a lot. So many people just say, oh, let me marry. Let them know that I have arrived. Do you understand? So why do you want to pretend when you know you have not dealt with their cabbages? There are a lot of cabbages stored in everybody's subconscious mind. So that's why in my process of training, I always mention learning yourself, unlearning yourself, and relearning yourself. When you learn yourself, you now store some good virtues that need to be there. You know that love is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. Godliness is a virtue. You know, truth is a virtue. Honesty is a virtue. There are so many virtues. Self-discipline, self-control. These people, they can demoralize you with their words, verbally, that you feel they should even kill you first. Do you understand? So let everyone, the parents, start teaching your children the right virtues from womb. From womb, because the child, there's what I call childhood experiences. So many children have been abused while they were in the womb. Why? The father or the mother is abusing each other. You feel the child don't see, the child perceive when there is a healthy, happy environment, and when there is hurtful, painful, and sad environment. The child born with that, and it's just a matter of time to express it. So a lot of people are living in the script of childhood experiences, and that's why you see abuses everywhere. I had to study it. And now know that it's about the mindset. I love what the World Health Organization this year, health, what do you call it? Mental health. It's on the 10th. It said, you and your mind. our mind, our right. Our mind, our right. You say your mental health is your universal right. Yes. Because we see our body, we just feel we are body. It's the mind that controls the body. What is stored in the mind is what the body acts on. So let's deal with that and be there for each other.
All right, so as we begin to round off, for that person who is watching you right now and has been able to draw up strength from your pain and from your experience and your story, how would they be able to move on? Because most people will tell you that after divorce, how do I cater to my children? How do I find a house? How do I move on? How do I live? How do I continue with the societal talks and everything? So for such person, would like to get your last word to them, how they can move on. And secondly, 2 questions, and I'd like you to take them together. That's one on the side. And then secondly, you hear people, they come out to tell you that that whoever that abused, like your ex-husband, will definitely go back and marry somebody else.
Of course.
And then they tell you that, okay, but you did not know that you didn't ask questions. What happened to the first wife? That's what people will ask you. So at that point, to whoever that wants to marry someone else, because you don't know if he was especially for divorced people. Okay, let's use people that were divorced. If you hear that a man or a woman was divorced, what should be the first thing you should do? Is it asking questions and then finding out why they left their marriage before you get into the same thing that happened to them recently?
How to move on is the self-awareness is actually the first thing. You have to really, self-esteem first, because the world will always talk. Once you get your self-esteem first, so you'll be able to accept every talk with calmness, with gratefulness, with focus for the future. Then your skill, you really need to get a skill. You really need to get what to do with your hand. You understand? Then we have this support system. That's why I always give people, once I hear this topic like this, I always give myself freely to it. And in my organization, we have support system where people can come in and we help them psychologically.
Is it pro bono?
Sorry?
Is it for free?
Yeah, some we do free, some we charge.
Okay.
We have the NGO aspect where we do free. We have the organization, corporate body where we charge. So at least we have the support system first before we talk of money. Do you understand? I always let clients know, I say, look, get yourself first. We'll talk about the money.
Awesome.
Do you understand? And that's one of the ways. And then speak out.
Speak out.
Speak out. I cannot stay here and without talking about that. Please speak out. Don't just speak to friends that doesn't know what you are going through. Speak out to professional trained counselor. I am abusive recovery counselor. Speak out to us. We are there. Do you understand? And those are the things. Self-discovery is number 1 first.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, so for someone who needs to get married, especially to a divorced
someone that needs to ask questions. Ask questions around. Ask questions with friends. Try to see this person. Allow the person to don't believe. I don't believe in you must be very good. How can somebody be very good? No comma.
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true. At least there should be where this person expresses its emotional negative vibes.
So that means I should be looking for that part.
I should be looking, yes.
Okay.
Please, don't try to be too good to me. Show me that, you mashed my leg, it pained me, You understand? And
exactly.
Express it.
All right.
Express yourself, really.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a wonderful time having this conversation. Let's get in one sentence, that one who is going through abuse. One word for that person.
One word. Before I do, there's what I always call, you get into yourself first. I call it mindfulness. Get into yourself first. You can look at yourself in the mirror, call your name, and say, I got your back. I am committed to make the best out of you. Not just for you, but for your world.
All right. Thank you so much, Counsellor Rita. It's been a wonderful time having this discussion with you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this conversation. I'm sure you must have been rightly educated, entertained, and informed. We have been chatting with Counsellor Rita, who is an abuse recovery counselor and a personal development coach. All right, now, like I said before we started, never accept anything less than you deserve. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. Don't allow someone to mentally abuse you just because you love them. Every individual has a right to be happy, and they have the right to be loved and treated respectively. Being single and happy is far better than being sad and afraid in an abusive relationship. Never feel guilty about ending toxic relationship, because nothing is worth trading our inner peace and dignity. Always take a stand against all forms of abuse. Gather courage. Fight for your peace and your progress. Healing may be very slow, may be a slow process, but you always remember that you deserve happiness. I will see you next time from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Annabelle Oji. I'm waiting to hear your recovery story. God bless you and yours. God bless Nigeria.